Hello, my name is Samuel Acosta.
Hi, my name is Natalia Flores.
Welcome back to another episode of Gov 101. Today we have
Primitivo Romero. Hello.
Hello, Mr. Romero. Thank you for joining us today on our Gov 101 podcast. This podcast is here to educate the public on what each head of department does. So today we will be asking you to give a brief description of your role, and then from there we'll be asking 10 questions, around 10 questions, informing us as well as informing the public about your role.
Very well. Well, first of all, let me start by saying that I'm grateful for the opportunity to be here and share with members of the public as far as what we do and what our role is. And as was mentioned, I have the good fortune and privilege of serving as Human Resources Director for Santa Cruz County. I've been in this position now for close to 2 years. And as far as your question in terms of what it is that we do, I would begin by mentioning that we handle essentially all recruitments for departments that have vacant positions. We process all employment applications. We assist and answer questions from people who are looking to be employed by the county. We assist employees who have questions about benefits, personnel policies. We facilitate the first part of the onboarding process, in other words, when somebody first starts serving the county. And we also facilitate a new employee orientation. We work closely with management and make recommendations related to new positions and salaries and things like that. We provide support and guidance to elected officials and department heads and directors when requested, specifically around personnel policies. And we advocate for equal employment opportunities for everyone. We also encourage the use of professional development so that we have a strong workforce, a well-educated workforce. And of course, we also handle paperwork related to things like employee injuries, and we handle some functions related to payroll.
Thank you. Within the description, could you please give us a little bit more background to your education and where you're from and how that's influenced you or how that's given you the opportunity to become Human Resources Director?
Okay, very well, sure, I'm glad to do that. Well, first of all, let me begin by saying that I was born and raised in Nogales, and I'm very proud of that. I'm also proud of the fact that I graduated from Nogales High School many years ago. I then attended the University of Arizona, where I obtained or earned a bachelor's degree. And then I had the good fortune of getting a job with the county, served the county for several years, decided to go back to school while still employed, and earned a master's degree from Northern Arizona University. So essentially I've been serving the county now for about 33 years, so it's been a while, and it's been a real privilege. I've been in different roles. I've learned a great deal as a result, and I think that well, I'd like to think that I've contributed in hopefully various ways in the various departments and offices where I have served.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. So, what kind of compensation do you offer to employees?
Okay, well, it varies certainly depending upon the classification of the job, the educational requirements, the experience requirements. So we have what's called a salary schedule, and everything is broken down by office and by department, and every classification is listed. And in fact, it was something that was amended not too long ago, because the county essentially commissioned a classification and compensation study that resulted in some recommendations around classification grades, which impact salaries, right? So essentially everything is driven by that. But again, with a big emphasis on what the classification is, what the educational requirements are, what the experience requirements are. And around the issue of compensation, one of the things that I want to share is that I'm really pleased with the way things are going for my fellow employees here at the county over the last several fiscal years. It's interesting that we're having this conversation today, the same day that the Board of Supervisors approved a 3% cost of living adjustment for county employees. The county, I think, has made very diligent efforts in improving the levels of compensation that are offered to county employees. Perhaps not to the extent that some people would like, but I think that when you consider that there was a 3% increase in 2021, a 6% increase in 22, 23, and 24, and then this year's increase of 3%, I think I would argue that we are definitely trending in the right direction. So I'm really pleased about that. And that's important, because if we want to have a strong workforce, a good workforce, if we want to have good employees, I feel very strongly that employees should be compensated, in a way that's fair, in a way that's competitive, in a way that's externally competitive, right? Because there are many organizations out there, be it in the public sector or the private sector, that would absolutely love to be able to count on the services of our employees. So I think it's incumbent upon us to compensate employees fairly, so that hopefully they will continue serving the people of Santa Cruz County in their current position, regardless of what that position may be.
Thank you.
You got it.
Well, congratulations. I'm really glad this compensation will make a benefit to the county. I'm sure of
Thank
it.
you.
And so, what does a human resource do specifically?
Well, essentially, like I mentioned earlier, I think the main things that we do center around making sure that we have a good workforce. So we work very closely with our partners in the various offices and departments to do recruitments, to vet applications, to make sure that people who are applying for certain positions meet the qualifications, to ensure that we're hiring good people, and part of that is through the background investigation process that's done and things like that. So it's really all about making every diligent effort to hire the right people for the various classifications that are available with the county.
Going back to employee compensation, how has it changed from then to now?
Okay, well, I can tell you that as someone who served the county for a long time, there was a period of several years there where the county did not see, or county employees did not see any increase in pay. In fact, I remember distinctly from 2007 through 2014, there were no increases, and then there were some increases that were bonuses, I believe, in 15, 16. So those were good, and they were very much appreciated, but that's a long time to go without any sort of an increase. And even though I understand that it was because of budgetary constraints, I understand things were difficult, so I'm not insensitive to the fact that there may have been good reason why there were no increases. I'm just really pleased that things have changed for the better. So I'll focus on where we're at now, and like I said before, that we're in a much better situation than we were several years ago. So.
What other major changes have there been in the human resource department or other departments?
Mm-hmm. Well, in our department, like I said previously, I've been in this role now for close to 2 years, and we have, I think, undergone several changes. We've been fortunate in that we were able to pick up the services of an additional staff member, which I think has helped a great deal because we have more resources now to be perhaps more thorough in terms of some things that we do, to be more involved in certain things that perhaps before the county's Human Resources Office could not get involved in. As I understand it, Human Resources has always provided a good service here for the people of Santa Cruz County. So essentially what I've done is I have done my very best to build upon the many good things that my predecessor did while she served Santa Cruz County. But yeah, definitely we are doing some things, from what I understand, that are in some cases quite different. But of course, they're all well-intentioned, and I think for the betterment of our county, and that's why I'm fully committed to making sure that every office and every department is getting quality human resources support and services. I want to make absolutely sure that all of our employees feel the support that they need and that they deserve. And I think that we accomplish that through the various benefits that we offer, not only in terms of health benefits, but through our wellness program, our employee assistance programs, and things like that. So I think we're in a good place, although we're certainly not satisfied. We're always looking at making improvements in everything that we do.
You got that.
And what do you think about other employment competition when, in quotes, poaches them?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that that's just a reality that there are always organizations out there, whether in the public sector or the private sector, that are looking for good employees. So I can't say that I blame them when they target some of our employees, right? Mm-hmm. But all the more reason why I think it's important then that we have a strong compensation for our employees, that we have offices and departments where people feel supported, respected, appreciated, where we make it clear that there are opportunities for professional growth, for upward mobility, and things like that. So it's a situation where we can't control the fact that an outside entity may come up after one of our employees and offer a significant amount of money. We can't control what that employee does, but what we can control is making sure that, again, as I said before, that those employees are feeling good, appreciated, that they feel like they're contributing, so that hopefully they will elect to stay with Santa Cruz County and not be guided just strictly based on maybe getting $1,000 or $5,000 more somewhere else, right? So there's a lot to be said about being happy with what you're doing and being appreciated.
If employees or applicants don't meet a certain requirement, but you are very eager to have them work for you, do you offer any type of training or any type of camp that could kind of expand their skills or experience?
Well, I'll tell you what, I wish we could do that, and in some cases it's a situation where we may have what appears to be a good applicant, a good candidate for a position, but if the individual doesn't meet the minimum qualifications, that can be problematic. It depends on what the qualifications are. My recommendation generally would be that we stick to what the job description requires. And if somebody doesn't meet those minimum qualifications, what we would do is we would explain to the individual that they simply don't meet the minimum qualifications. We are happy to share with them maybe some options as far as what they can do to get to the point where they can meet the minimum qualifications. But it's going to depend on the classification also, right? In some cases, we may have a little bit more leeway than in others, but generally speaking, they need to meet the minimum qualifications.
And previously mentioning opportunities. So what opportunities does Santa Cruz County offer to their employers?
Opportunities with regard to what specifically, someone?
Let's say like insurance.
Okay.
Like
Okay. Very well. Sure. In
many
terms of
others.
just benefits.
Yeah,
Sure. Absolutely.
benefits.
So, full-time employees qualify for medical insurance, vision insurance, dental insurance, and those are things that are very costly. But as employees, we're very fortunate in that the county picks up the lion's share of those costs, right? So the amount of money that we contribute to those benefits is really small in comparison to what the county pays, right? So it's something that I think is extremely beneficial, and it's one of those fringe benefits that, thank goodness, is in place. Other things that we offer, I'd be remiss if I didn't mention our tuition reimbursement program for people that may be working on a degree. We also have a student loan repayment assistance program. We have employee assistance programs, as I mentioned earlier, for individuals that maybe are struggling with some sort of personal issue. Let's say, right, we all know life is hard, life gets hard, and what do? We need somebody possibly that we can reach out to, a professional counselor. So all those pieces are in place, right? So that whatever an employee needs, generally speaking, the services are there. It's just a matter of reaching out and making full use of those services.
Do you offer an orientation for new employees here at the county complex?
We do, Natalia, and that's one of the things that's one of the differences, right? Because before, as I understand it, there was nothing like that was being offered, right? So that's something that I decided to start, and with the support of my supervisor, we got that off the ground. We've been doing that now for almost a year and a half. So yes, absolutely, we offer what is essentially, I think, a pretty good orientation session for all new employees, be it full-time or part-time employees. We've always gotten good feedback as far as the amount of learning. I think that that is taking place, or at least I'd like to think, right? Because we can't make assumptions that people know about what their benefits are going to be, or about programs related to the ones I mentioned earlier, whether it's tuition reimbursement, employee assistance. So we cover all those things. And of course, the other thing that we cover that we really highlight and emphasize is the need to be professional, obviously, at all times upon joining county service. We place a great deal of emphasis on being ethical, doing the right thing, making good choices. It really pains me when document crosses my desk involving an individual who had to be let go because he or she wasn't following the rules, right? So we, of course, during that orientation, we always take advantage of that opportunity to encourage people to make good decisions and to value their jobs, really, right? Because I'm of the opinion that there are many people out there who would love to be in the positions that we're in, right? Gainfully employed, contributing, serving the people of Santa Cruz County, and doing positive things for the people of Santa Cruz County.
What is your process with an overly qualified individual or an applicant? Do you hire them for that position and then as time goes on, promote them or offer a different position, or right away do you offer them a different position that they can apply to?
Well, it depends on what positions are available.
Okay.
right? Because we can't create a position for somebody by virtue of them being overly qualified, right? So essentially, the positions are available. The positions are available. If somebody happens to be overly qualified, one of the things that management may consider doing is possibly provide a higher level of compensation for those individuals, right? And then if there are opportunities in the future where maybe that individual would be a better fit, a higher classification, then that's something that would still have to go through a process, right? It would have to go through a competitive process. But we certainly are not in the business of creating positions for people because of their,
Other skills.
if they're overly qualified, right? It depends.
Oh, I'm sorry. I cut you off.
That's all right.
Right after you mentioned,
That's
so I
okay.
lost my turn. Sam goes.
I was going to ask that. Oh wow, it seems I forgot. Hold on.
5 seconds.
Oh no. Take the turn.
Okay.
I can't remember. I just wrote it down.
Do all employees, regardless of their skills, do they get equal compensation?
No, it depends on their classification. So what I mean by that is that every job within the county has a job description and is assigned a certain grade.
Okay.
And it's based on recommendations that were made by the company that did the recent classification and compensation study. So based on whatever your classification is, there's a grade assigned, and the grade determines the salary range. So it could be a salary that could start at 30 and end at 90. So again, it depends, and it depends on the duties and responsibilities associated with whatever position somebody holds, right? I hope that makes sense.
Yeah.
Okay.
I remembered.
Okay. Yeah, I was gonna
I
give
don't
it to
know how I
you.
forgot this simple question. It was, what's a thought or a message you would like to share for the public?
Okay. Well, what I would share is that I believe Santa Cruz County is a great place to work. I really do. I wouldn't have been around for as long as I've been here if I felt otherwise. I think that we are doing well. We can get better, but we're making progress. The other thing I would say is that I would really encourage young people out there who leave our community to go out and get an education, to consider coming back at some point. I can tell you that there are many people who are from this area, either born and raised or maybe just raised here in Nogales, who are currently in positions of leadership here in Santa Cruz County, and I think that that's really important. I understand it's very appealing to leave Nogales and go work elsewhere. There's nothing wrong with that, absolutely nothing wrong with that. But I think there's also a lot to be said about going out, getting your education, coming back, and serving your home community. It's something that provides, I think, a significant sense of satisfaction, right, for those of us who have done that. So that would be my message, especially to those individuals that are, either in college or college bound, to at least, consider coming back to Santa Cruz County and serving our wonderful community. And when I say community, I'm referring to all of Santa Cruz County, not just Nogales. I want to be clear about that.
Thank you.
Mhm.
To conclude our kind of serious questions, I do have some questions that aren't necessarily directed to your role. I heard before that you were the chief probation officer, correct?
That is correct.
What are some funny stories that you have working in that position?
Wow, that was the same question I had too.
Funny stories?
Or some
about probation?
interesting
stories?
Yeah.
Or experiences you've had on duty.
Or crazy experiences
Yeah.
as well.
Well, I'll tell you what, I can think of one. And yes, I had the privilege of serving in the probation department for many years. And I remember when I was a very young probation officer, and by the way, I'd be remiss if I didn't express my gratitude to Frank Morales, who was the chief probation officer at the time, who gave me my first opportunity straight out of college. He hired me, and thank goodness I was able to serve the department for a long time. But as far as an interesting story, I think you might find it, I don't think there's nothing funny about it, but it's interesting in the sense that, as you may or may not know, as a probation officer, you're out there and you're enforcing court-ordered conditions of probation, right? And some people don't want to be on probation, obviously. In fact, most people don't want to be on probation because they have an officer who's checking on them and making sure that they're complying with their conditions. And I remember distinctly being out in the field with one of my fellow probation officers. It was in the evening, and it was in one of the areas of town where it's known for being less than a positive environment sometimes. And I remember that we pulled up to this residence, and we were going to check on our probationer. And then all of a sudden, we heard this loud sound on the top of the car, and on the roof of the car. And basically, it was somebody who had thrown a big rock in our direction, who was less than happy to see us there. And you might imagine it didn't take very long for us to put the car in reverse and leave as quickly as we could. So, like I said, nothing funny about it, but certainly something that was very impactful and eye-opening, especially as a young probation officer.
What's some advice that you've heard either from a family member, a teacher, or a colleague that stuck with you to this day and then you still follow?
Mm-hmm. Well, I think that I'd go back to my 5th grade teacher, Mrs. Frances Martin. Okay, that was a long time ago, but I remember her name.
Here in Nogales?
Here in Nogales, absolutely, here in Nogales.
Elementary.
Elementary, yes, correct.
Yes.
And what I remember about Mrs. Martin is that she was very strict, but she had very high expectations of all of us. And I think that always stuck with me, that she always told us that it doesn't matter, what your background is or where you come from, right? The opportunities that are presented in life are opportunities that you create. And I remember that she always emphasized that, and she always saw all of us as individuals who had a lot of potential and a lot of promise. And I'll always be grateful to her for that, because she always believed in us. And even though I was 10, that's how impactful it was, that I still remember, and I will always remember Mrs. Frances Martin.
Great. Thank you so much for joining us today, and I also want to give you a separate thank you for bringing us back. I know it wasn't just you, it was many other departments, but without that effort, Sam and I wouldn't have been back, and to finish this informative podcast and to create more opportunities and open more doors for us. So thank you so much, Mr. Romero, for bringing us back and making it possible.
Well, I appreciate that, and I appreciate the work that you're doing. See, it makes me, if you don't mind me taking another minute just to mention that, it makes me feel real good to see people as young as you are, who are already so focused. And it's obvious that you're intelligent, you have initiative, you have incredibly bright futures. So for me, as an old guy at this point, it's wonderful to see that you both of you, it's clear to me you have a plan, and I look forward to hearing about all of your successes in the future, especially now as you're in the process of accessing higher education. So best wishes, and thank you for your work over the summer.
Thank you so much.
It's my pleasure. Thank you.
If you have any questions for us, ring your bell. I just remember we forgot to do that in our other interview.
Yeah, I just remember to. But if you have any questions,
I don't have any questions other than, like I said, I just wanted to express my gratitude for the work you're doing on the podcast, for the work that you did over the summer, and really compliment you and commend you for your initiative. It would have been very easy for you to be sitting at home on your phone over the entire summer, but not the case, right? So kudos to you and your fellow leaders in training. Participants, your fellow participants, all 28 of them, 30 in all as I recall,
Yeah.
right? So it's always nice to see young people who are, like I said before, motivated and have all kinds of initiatives. So best wishes again.
Thank you so much,
My
and
pleasure.
thank you for taking time out of your day and being with us. It's been great, not only educating us, but also educating the viewers. And stay tuned for another episode of Gov 101.